What are some of the challenges you faced as a single mother? And what are ways that we can learn from you as a single father so that we are better for you? Okay? And again, if you're watching these and you're given to very useless, idle banter, if people's lives don't concern you, sometimes if you don't have anything glorious to say, you can just keep quiet. What are the challenges of being a single parent? Every time, if you're on the World Wide Web and on social media, you will see, at least in a day, 10 stone thrown targeted at especially a single mother. When did we start blaming the parent who decided to stay? And it's all fashionable, you know? You'll see comments around a single mother is a property that has a court case. and somebody will say something very, very mean towards the parent who decided to stay. I want us to have that conversation today. What are some of the challenges of being a single parent? My name is Eric, if you're new here, and this is Ask Eric, where you and I try and suss out important stuff. You know, we try and quieten the noise, and we try and, lift up our voices to the conversations that matter. I love all of your perspective. I respect them all. Please don't hold it. Share it with me, because that way I learn. I, again, don't like speaking at you. I prefer instead to speak with you. As you know, I was raised by my mom, whom I loved and cherished, and she raised me all by herself. And sometimes I think to myself, my mom, who was mostly reticent, she was not given to immediately share her thoughts. I'd wonder quietly many times in my sleep, I wonder what she was going through here. By the time my mom was 33, the year of Jesus, she has built her own house. She had had all of her children, and she was a full-blown career woman. She was doing both corporate Kenya and also being an all-time businesswoman. So she was a woman who wore many, many hats. And by the time I was turning 33, I don't think I'd learned to tie my shoelace. So what are some of the challenges? The reason it's important to discuss challenges, not from a place of bastardizing a woman or a man who is a single parent. We don't do that here. It's just so that we are cognizant of the challenges, and hopefully at the tail end of this conversation, we can approach these conversations with a lot of sympathy and care. That's the first part. The second part, I hear a lot of young women saying, I just want a baby. Imagine me, I just want a baby. I don't even care for a man. Me, I'm broody. I'm broody. And this year, I'm getting a baby. And so again, at the tail end of this conversation, we are going to suss out and see if that's entirely a wise idea. Okay? So first and foremost, people get into the single spectrum for majority of reasons. Some people, as I've given the example of younger women wanting to be single mothers because they just want a baby, not everybody gets to have the option of choice. Majority, many, find themselves in these situations through death of a loved one, a spouse dying, or divorce, or separation, or the other person just having not having the want to. I read a wonderful book. If you've read it, you know. Elizabeth Gilbert, in her book, Eat, Pray, Love, says that one morning she woke up and she just didn't want to get married. And that stopped me at my tracks. What do you mean? Yeah, she was just like, this is not for me. I don't want to get married. So some people find themselves in those situations. And now 3 kids in, 4 kids in, 5 kids in, your partner wants out. What are you going to do? So what are those challenges? Let me know. If I don't include your challenge here, I look to hear from you. Difficulty in instilling discipline. If you're looking to YOLO, I just want a baby. Imagine I don't need the mother. I don't need the father. I don't need anyone. I just want my baby. You must realize that your baby will not stay a baby. Your baby will burp, puke, have a change of diaper, and then they're going to grow into a young man, and then into a whole prepubescent, and then into a whole adolescent, and then into a whole grown man. And that is true about your daughter. And so there are things, even as you're getting excited about getting a baby, that you must foster, including raising them up in a way that is decent. There are many, many, many proverbs that admonish us against leaving a child to grow like some sort of weed. You know the way you just leave your child? Boy, Aki boy, I will make you stand in your standing corner, boy. Aki boy, don't make mama upset. I saw the other day, I think in, what is this show called? Tender Loving Care. This woman was asking her very gigantic son if she's going to have another 19th sausage. This boy had a monstrous appetite, very big. He was completely way beyond the spectrum of obesity. And this woman was just like, "Are you gonna have more eggs? Should I fry another crate of eggs for you? Do you want bread?" And I was thinking, my goodness, somebody pull away the plate from this boy. So then, difficulty in instilling discipline. Some children from single parents' homes engage in truant behavior, again for attention. You are very strapped for time. You're very busy always fending for the family. So you don't quite get to walk in on them doing something heinous. And many, many times, if you are two, it's easier. When the man is taking care of the boy and you're away working, they can report some sense of responsibility from one parent being there. Okay? And this doesn't stop there. Discipline must be negotiated. And kids are not adults. They cannot be left by themselves to decide their own fate. Somebody who's gone ahead of them should come back and say, this is going to land you in trouble. In Swahili, we have a proverb that says, asiyefunzwa na mamake, I don't know why they don't say babake, asiyefunzwa na mamake, ufunzwa na ulimwengu, which loosely translates, if you're watching from the armpit of whichever part of the world that doesn't speak Swahili, it simply means if you forgo discipline and you don't train up your child, they will go rogue. Okay? So then, anytime you're by yourself, I saw it firsthand, and I've shared many, many times, where my mother had to switch very quickly from being a mom to being a disciplinarian. And it is very difficult because she had to come out of her femininity and ignite her masculinity gear. And it was very, 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 very tough. So that's something to think about. You are going to likely face challenges around issues of disciplining your boy or your girl. Okay? This goes without saying. Financial difficulty. If you have your one job and you're the sole provider, think about it. From paying your rent to paying for water bills and to pay for these and pay for school fees and pay for that. One downside of a single parent home is that you're strained financially. All of us need a helping hand. Okay? Not to say that there are two parent homes where somebody's a couch potato, but deciding from the onset that you're choosing a pathway for single parenting can make you poorer. It's not exactly the most excellent, ideal decision. So the extra financial burden weighs heavy on you as a single parent. Unless you come from the bank of mom and dad, it's something you need to give your mind to very, very constructively. Okay? Something to think about. Loneliness. When my mother had attained the good age of over 40, I used to jokingly tell her, because the age difference between my mom and I was 19 years, I used to tell her, why don't I take you to Mombasa so we see if we can get you a nice boyfriend? and all of us need somebody to witness our lives. Okay? We were not supposed to belong to ourselves. The goal of life is interdependent, not so much independence that we love fostering. I'm an independent girl. I am so independent. You see this SUV? I bought it with my own money. I mean, that's great. That's amazing. Congratulations, Scholastica. But there's a place for independence and there's a place for interdependence. We are richer when we are othered-centered more than when we are self-centered. Our lives are wholesome when we are othered-centered. So think about it. Your kids, the one you want because you don't care for a mate, are going to grow and go to college. They will go to college. In that big house that you've built, because you're an independent lady, you're going to come back home alone. And when you choke on your saliva, woe unto you, Scholastica. You have now choked. Who is even going to give you water? I'm not saying that we make kids out of, you know, the way some parents say that this is the child who's going to get me out of poverty. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you get a mate so that you are dependent. I'm just saying that there are variables of our lives that need a partner. Okay? There are places in our lives where we come short, we have deficits, And then there are other places in our life where we are more affluent. So partnering helps so that when you call and come short, the other person is going to fill you up. Okay? Being alone is not exactly exciting. But there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. If you are alone and wholesome, kudos. If you are alone and lonely, then something has to give. So that's another challenge. A sense of guilt. Have you ever sat at the end of a relationship or marriage and started asking yourself questions like, supposing I would have just been patient, maybe his womanizing ways were not that bad. Maybe his drinking wasn't that bad after all. Maybe his cheating ways weren't that bad. How come I've lost so many friends after my marriage ended? So all these unanswered questions can rob you off of your innocence. But that is another guilt, a lot of us have. We start thinking, is it possible that I would have done things differently? I'm not talking to you who things were very punitive for, and then now you decided with good reason to leave the relationship. I'm really addressing the person who decides from the onset that me, as me, I'm just going to make a lady pregnant, then I'm going to disappear in the woodworks. You need to be cognizant of the challenges you're leaving the lady with. And in the same measure, a friend of mine told me a few years back that they'd gotten married to this lovely woman. They had 3 kids. And one day she just said she's bored and she left him with the kids. So you need to also, as a lady, understand the challenges that guy is going through in your absentia. And even the children, the challenges the children are going through. Okay? So if you're that person, don't find blame for the simple reason that the things are outside of your control. Okay? They are outside of your control. So what are we going to do then? We want to really understand. I think change comes with acceptance. We want to really understand the effects of our decisions. It's very interesting that consequences are always lying around. Consequence is lying around. Nothing is happening to the consequence until you activate it. And when you activate consequence, what then happens? You get the bountiful fruits of what you've seeded in the ground. So I would want to admit to you that there are ripple effects of choosing out of what is a popularly seen as a wonderful, nice thing that everybody does, of, oh my goodness, I just want to be a single mom to my babies. I don't care for it. Again, if circumstances are permitted that you choose that route, by all means. But again, study after study after study reveals that even the parent who is not exactly nice, the one who's deemed as very toxic, children grow up yearning for their presence, even that toxic one. Okay, so there's a place and a void that a parent does feel when they absent themselves in a child's heart. So something to think about. And then finally, I would say self-esteem of a child. I think we've talked about this in different conversations. More than single fathers, single mothers are ostracized by society. I've heard and read accounts where a woman is ostracized by a women group because her marriage has ended. And so other women would say, this one wants to steal our husbands. Okay? And we hear conversations around people saying, oh, this woman is raising a single child as a single mother. These kids are the ones who are very problematic. So you see, there's a lot of, if you're not careful, low self-esteem. You're thinking, am I doing this right? Because everybody's bashing you. Everybody's bastardizing you. If a child from a 2-parent home does something similar to your child, everybody will go to, oh, this is a child of a single parent. You see the way he's behaving like a single parent? Very rogue. Very, very rogue. So already on the onset, there's almost immediate judgment if you have subjected yourself to that situation. So it's something that really requires critical thinking. Judgment includes things that are very negative, many times even from family members. Your brother can say something very untoward towards you because you're a single mom. Or your sister can say something very untoward towards you because you're a single dad. Okay? So every time people are giving you a hard time and saying things that are very injurious and things that deem really unfit, it's just a painful reminder that before you jump onto that ship and say, you know what, me, I'm just ready. Me, honestly, I am just ready. You want to think very critically of the adverse causes that your decision will not only have on you, but also on your child and also on people around you. So let me know what you think. What are some of the challenges you faced as a single mother? And what are ways that we can learn from you as a single father so that we are better for you? Okay. And again, if you're watching this and you're given to very useless, idle banter, if people's lives don't concern you, sometimes if you don't have anything glorious to say, you can just keep quiet. And then you may start off well. Somebody says that wrong lanes lead to right roads. And the reverse is also true. It's possible, as I said in the beginning of this cast, that you are married and you have kids in matrimony, and then your spouse dies, or they leave, or you're separated. And just like that, boom, you've entered the single father sphere. So I think the clarion call is we should be kind with our words. If you don't have anything kind to say, then keep it to yourself. You're not going to die. Okay? Instead of spewing idle banter, bastardizing somebody, and especially the parent that decided to stay. So let's be kind. Comprende? Comprende?